Hey, what's going on, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. I hope you're enjoying the new work week. That being said, hey, look, if you want to be a bud, make sure to grab some suds and tap on the little beer mug in the bottom right-hand corner, because that makes you a subscriber, and being a subscriber is pretty cool. But don't tap it too hard, because if you do, you're going to spill it all over your PC or your tablet. Next thing you know, you're looking for your wife's good hand towels, and then she gets mad, right? Because you're not using a shop rag, because those things never really absorb very well anyways. But you catch my drift. So just be careful when you're tapping that little beer mug at the bottom right-hand corner. Now, I realize not all of you can visibly see this little beer mug, because this little beer mug is only really available if you're looking at my videos on a PC. If you're watching it on your phone or you're watching it on your television, you're probably not going to see the little beer mug thumbnail. But doesn't mean you still don't get the gist of what it is that we're doing, which means subscribe, right? Also, make sure to hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I post my next mechanical insight video, how-to tool video, like we're going to do a tool review video, okay? Or you just simply want to hang out with us on TGIF, because we never keep the streams. You kind of got to be there. The only way you can be there and know that we're live is if you hit the bell. All right. That being said, we're going to roll into today's discussion topic, which is how did the independent shop prepare me better for the dealership when it came to dealing with the parts department? Today was a very interesting day. I kind of felt like I got my butt kicked a little bit, and I didn't get my butt kicked necessarily by any one job. Of course, I did have some issues because, man, I haven't done drum brakes. Okay, let me be honest here. I really haven't had to do drum brakes. So I've had a couple of drum brake jobs, and I've been trying to improvise and use what tools that I've had and ask for help a couple times. I know you guys are like, oh, how do you not know how to do that? This just never been my thing. So I'm like, right? So, but I've been figuring it out. I had an AC job though, and I was looking for some specific crush gasket washer styles for the AC. Everyone that worked on Ford knows what I'm talking about, right? But for whatever reason, the master AC gasket kit that is provided to you by O'Reilly's when they come out, name dropping, right? They just don't seem to have those in their kit. And I don't know how they can call it a master gasket O-ring kit when they don't incorporate the aluminum with the rubber built into it. I just don't understand that. And I know it's available. And if you was to go on there and they're like, well, we think it's going to be like dealership specific, we might have to order from the dealer, it could take a couple days. I said, guys, we don't have a couple days. Look, if you would just let me leave, I will go buy it myself. Like, I'm half tempted to leave the dealership just to go buy these crush gaskets, because I know exactly where to find them at O'Reilly's. The fact that they don't have them on the shelf was another story. So they did find out that yes, there is a universal package of O-rings and miscellaneous springs that you can put in for the fitting that goes into the evaporator core, but they also have a couple of crush gaskets, right? There's an aftermarket company that does this for every single auto parts house. I said, look, I know that, I don't know how you guys feel about AutoZone, but they have them too. So make sure to contact them. So if Napa don't got it, and O'Reilly's don't got it, and they're telling you 2 or 3 days, ask AutoZone, because they might have it. I just need them, because this is where it was leaking from. I know they got them, and I could go spend $8 to $10 and get them right now. And in fact, you're kind of making me half tempted to go do that, because I was getting so frustrated. I'm like, dude, I'm losing time. Like, literally, I could have gone to AutoZone, purchased them, came back, and installed it faster than it took for them to order them. But it's not parts faults department. They didn't know about this, so I had to tell them. They finally found the kit. AutoZone did have it. They did bring it out to me. Okay, cool. Rock and roll. Then they needed to know what specific oil or PAG oil to put in, because I was going to put PAG oil in. I'm like, there's a universal PAG oil for these older and newer-ish Fords. Okay, maybe not brand new. We're not talking 1234YF. We're talking R134. Okay, there's a universal dye that you can get and that you can utilize, that we've been utilizing over at the independent shop for all these years. And I love the parts manager's response. Like, well, I've been, managing Ford side, now Chrysler side for years, and never heard of such a thing. I'm like, I'm telling you, it exists. So they did order some, they did get it to me, and I was able to put it in. But it was things like that I learned from the independent shop, is that there are things that you can use in lieu of what the actual label says. it's pretty much universal. Some guys are going to comment down below, you should never do that. Always go by the manufacturer, da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, but look, there is, okay? It's like the coolant. See, a long, long time ago, and I even stated it in the past video that I did where I thought that, hey, you know what? Universal coolant, non-existent, right? As a Chrysler technician at that point in time, really not a good idea to mix coolants. If it's 3-year, 5-year, or 10-year, you put in 3-year, 5-year, or 10-year. But at the independent shop, a little bit different. Unless it was an Asian style coolant that required, like, you know, like, was it Honda has blue and Nissan has their thing, right? There are certain years and of those manufacturers where you can get away with using a universal coolant. There are other years that are newer that you do have to use the newer style coolant. So yes, there's also this whole HOT coolant or non-HOT coolant. So yes, I agree with that too. I'm going to have to get back into my coolant studies to learn this stuff. But all I know is that I've dealt with numerous different colors and styles of coolant, and we've always used this chameleon universal coolant over at the independent shop. So I know that there is a universal chemical for that for most vehicles. But yes, at a dealership, a little bit different. They tend to want to go with specifically what is supposed to go in the vehicle. Nothing wrong with that, only the delay in actually completing the repair. Anyways, how was my day? My day was great, okay? Look, overall, yeah, I had a couple of little issues in the parts thing, but because of all the stuff that I actually did, we were still well and above 110 or 120% for the day, if I'm not mistaken. And my math could be off. I'm not really good at math. All I know is that in an 8-hour day, I think I produced like 8.5 or almost 9 hours, so I feel pretty comfortable with that. So let's call it 105, okay? Maybe I was 105% productive today. Even though there was quite a bit of like, yeah, walking and milling around and going back and forth between parts. But it was just one of those things that I really wanted to talk about, because I think that all the stuff that I learned at the independent shop, even when it came down to this vacuum line that I was trying to repair, I was like, look, just give me some bulk hose, you know, 7/16 or 5/16. It's going to be one of those two. Let me take a look at the diameter and I'll be able to tell you which one I'm going to need, and I need about 6 inches. And they're like, well, we don't have much. We can show you what we got. They were trying to find fittings and they were trying to find hard line. I'm like, no, I don't want hard line. I just want, just give me regular vacuum line and I can manage it. It wasn't a big piece that was broken and separated. It was a small piece, and you can use regular bulk hose or vacuum hose to repair that. So he brought it out, and I'm like, I'm going to take these two, clip, and I'm going to run off, and I'm going to go ahead and fix it because that's what I needed. He's like, oh, okay, cool. So it was just like knowing what I needed in order to finish the job that kept the ball rolling. I could not have done that 5 years ago, okay? 5 years ago, it was like, oh, okay, if the line's broke, then yeah, we're probably going to have to get a factory one, and it's going to have to do this, and it's going to route over here, and I'm going to have to point out which one on the wiring or on the vacuum diagram, and they're going to have to get it going. We found ways of being able to repair that kind of stuff at the independent shop. It is correct, it does work. A lot of people would like to see factory, of course, but factory does come at a very extreme cost. But a lot of these Fords that come in that have been older, okay, those hard plastic lines, they deteriorate over time and they break down. So if you can clip it back to a good position on either side, freshen it up, and put a piece of regular vacuum line that fits tightly, and I mean tightly to the point where you have to use some kind of lubricant to slide it on, it will work, and it is a emissions 2 thumbs up repair, okay? So these are some things that I learned over at the independent shop. You know, you learn a lot of different things at the independent shop, and I think more ways than not, I'm starting to see just how much the independent shop really did benefit me overall as a mechanic and made me a better mechanic. Because not only were there a lot of times that we didn't have service information available, but there were a lot of times that we had to think outside the box, like way outside the box, in order to make sure the vehicle got repaired. When you start seeing vehicles come in that are in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and you can't find replacement parts for them, and you have to start fixing the parts that are there, or hopefully find them on eBay or some kind of classic catalog, it gets a little bit tricky, and you start really starting to think outside the box at that point in time, right? And then there have been other situations too where it's like, okay, outside the box thinking here, what can I do to still fix it, and make the customer happy when there is no part available, and what do we have to do to make it work. And I know I used to say I hated that expression, like, just make it work. But you really, by being forced to have to just make it work, you do start developing a different mindset, a different thought approach, and it really did benefit you. I mean, it benefited me. So these are my thoughts and opinions about that. Overall, though, really good day. We did see Jeff, okay? The one and only tool that I did pick up from Jeff, we made mention of in a past video, which was the Torx deep sockets and the 1/4" drive, and I will put the Amazon affiliate link down below in the description for you, as well as some other Amazon favorites of mine, be it GEARWRENCH, VIM, Mayhew, just a handful of things that I've been getting asked on Friday night live streams that I think that you guys can benefit from. I'll put those product links down below in the description. Maybe even try to save you some money. Sometimes there's some coupon discounts and stuff like that. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you do earn cashback rewards points, which then you can end up getting a free tool like I did the other day when I bought the Aries CV axle popper. Haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I'm glad that I got it because I know I borrowed chains like all the time. Something that I am thinking of possibly getting here in the near future would possibly be the Milwaukee M12 soldering iron. I know I talked a little bit poorly of it in the very beginning, but I didn't really get a chance to use it. It was an overview, and really I was taking a lot of other opinions into consideration that were on YouTube that made it to where I just didn't want to invest the money in one at that point in time. I have been running with the Power Probe butane torch, and the tips do tend to wear down pretty quick, especially if you're doing a lot of soldering, and you do tend up having to like do without a lot of butane. So I think that in the coming months, or at least the coming month, I will probably work my way over to the M12 soldering iron. I still have M12 batteries for a couple of the M12 Milwaukee tools that I still have left, like the buffer and the cutoff wheel. So I will make sure to add to that and probably just take a couple of those things with me. A little tiny buffer might not be a half bad idea, just to kind of have in your toolbox too, working at the new car dealership. Because I have noticed a couple little tiny that I'm like, well, you know, just a little tiny with a little buffer, maybe you can get that out and make it look good. I know it's not part of our job, but I mean, if you're already working, you're already kind of there and you notice that, if there's a way that you have a tool like that to use, I don't know, maybe it helps to improve the overall, the aesthetics of the car, and maybe it makes it a little bit more sellable. I don't know, something to think about. Obviously don't spend a lot of time trying to do that, but if it's just something quick that you can just kind of buff out, why not? Why not? I mean, if you're there, you got the tool, why not? Another thing that I wouldn't mind getting, especially now being back at the Chrysler dealership, is another exhaust pipe expander. That made in China one that I bought that broke down. I'm hoping, really hoping that I can find one that is made in USA, or at least a better quality one. Doesn't have to be made in USA, maybe made in Taiwan or Japan, Germany even, but no more made in China exhaust pipe expanders. I think I've learned my lesson from that. And that even comes down to the ones they sell over at Harbor Freight, okay? Not a big fan, and I realize that that's just not the way to go. So I know that Blue Point has one. Garrett doesn't have one on his truck. I don't know if my Snap-on rep will be able to get one, but I am curious to see what I can find on Amazon. So I will take a look, and I'll get back to you guys if I do decide to get one. That's all I got for this video, guys. Look, thanks as always for watching my channel. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. Make sure to smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. And I hope you enjoy your work week. Look, we're getting step into Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday. God, why does it feel like Wednesday already? At any rate, we'll see you guys next video. Cheers and deuces.